He weighed 714 pounds and was getting fatter. Then his parents did something risky. As a young boy, he was getting fatter and gaining weight. His parents had to step in and do something risky, not knowing if the venture would pay off or not. Jacob was no ordinary boy. Sure, he liked the same things as other boys his age, like playing video games or playing on his cell phone, socializing with his friends. He was no different from his friends, except that he weighed an incredible 714 pounds, 5 times the weight of his peers. And, as you can imagine, he was a very big boy. Even though he was a premature baby, even then he weighed more than average. He was bigger than everyone else from the beginning. But no one really cared, everyone just assumed he was growing. No one knew what was coming. But at 12 months, he was already 24 pounds, a full 25% more than would be normal at that age. But the roller coaster ride didn't end there, on the contrary, it just started. He gained an average of 99 pounds every year, so when he was a teenager, the weight was incredible. He tried to ignore it and go on with his life. Jacob had a hard time coping with life because he had always been fat and didn't understand how to live any other way. But he saw his friends doing things and going places he could only dream of, but he tried not to show it. When Jacob finally turned 15, he already weighed 714 pounds. As we said, that's more than 5.5 times the average weight. He had trouble walking or doing the simplest things. He had friends at school, but of course, he wasn't without bullying. They called Jacob hurtful nicknames, made him feel like he was in hell, and regularly brought him to tears. The damage, however, was not only emotional, but also physical. He suffered from the large amount of fat his body had accumulated. This put great strain on his internal organs, and the more he gained, the more complications occurred with his health. He had shortness of breath, cardiovascular problems, fatty liver, swollen feet, and diabetes. No medical professional would be surprised if Jacob's body just gave up and died. It's sad, but that was the harsh reality of being overweight as a teenager. Contrary to what many people think, Jacob's obesity was not caused by improper parenting. In fact, his parents had always done their best to feed him properly and accustom him to a healthy diet that he could enjoy. But despite their best efforts, he continued to gain weight. His parents were tearing their hair out because they didn't know he was starting to have a hormonal disorder. He could eat healthy foods, but it didn't help. So he ended up still eating junk food when nothing else mattered. All of his parents' efforts were in vain. The problem became so serious that his parents decided to take him to a doctor to get him checked out. The doctor took the problem seriously and did a comprehensive examination of all his organs and systems. He took many measurements to determine his condition and to get a better look at his abdominal organs. The doctor suggested surgery, but that was only half the battle. After the surgery, Jacob would have to do his part and follow a strict diet, gradually losing weight. The weight gain was not entirely due to his diet, but the amount of food he consumed also greatly affected his weight. But before the surgery could take place, Jacob had to lose 15 pounds to keep his weight under 699 pounds. This was not easy. Jacob had to eat less than he was used to. It may have been stressful for him, but slowly but surely his weight began to come down until he reached his goal. Jacob's parents were convinced that the surgery would be very serious and difficult. They worried that their son's body would not be able to withstand the stress and strain. They listened to everything the doctor said, but the thought that their boy might die during such an operation seemed too great a risk to them. Maybe they could have continued the intensive diet and the extra weight would have gone away without the surgery. They knew it went against the doctor's advice, but they were worried about Jacob and didn't want him to go through more pain since he had already suffered enough. Surgery seemed like a last resort, only resorted to when there were really no other options. So Jacob's parents supported him as best they could to keep losing weight, and for a while that worked pretty well. Old habits die hard, however. Jacob secretly ate large portions when his parents weren't around. His weight loss started to slow down, and then the weight went back up. After an intense evening of conversation, Jacob's parents were at their wits' end and they knew they had to do something. Eventually, they gave in and admitted that the surgery really had to be done. They wanted their son to be happy and, above all, to stay alive. The day of the surgery came and Jacob was taken away in front of his crying parents. The surgery itself took more than 3 hours, during which surgeons made an incision in the boy's stomach and removed most of it. There were several complications during the surgery, including severe bleeding that the surgeons had difficulty stopping, but in the end, Jacob pulled through. He survived and became the proud owner of a stomach the size of an egg. After a few days in the hospital, he was sent home to start a new life. The recovery process was not easy. Jacob had to work very hard to get rid of the fat in his body. He was on a strict exercise and diet regimen and took medication to keep his hormone levels under control. After a year, you could see the progress he had made. The surgery was a breakthrough in Jacob's weight loss, and he was now on the right track. Soon, he would be able to get back to his normal weight. But it was not an easy or quick path. His struggle would continue for the rest of his life. He would have to learn how to control himself and figure out how to take care of himself in order to stay healthy. 3 months after his life-changing surgery, Jacob went back to school 150 pounds lighter than before the surgery. Of course, the decision was difficult, scary, and risky for his parents, but it was worth it. He is on his way to being a happy, healthy, and normal boy, which is all his parents want for him. Now it's your turn. What do you think of this incredible and inspiring story? Have you ever heard of a child going through so much? Would you make the same decision for your child? As always, look forward to reading your opinions in the comments, so leave a comment and see you next time.